People of the internet! Let's get into this next story, man. I saw the story and I didn't really want to speak on it because for a lot of different reasons. I feel like it's one of those stories that are designed to trigger us so we can have backlash and riot in the streets and do things that are counterproductive. Pay attention to the things that are happening around this election season, folks. Things that are distracting you, things that are meant to emotionally enrage you. Whatever the case is, I came across this story, of course, of this Marcellus Williams. I'm sure you guys probably heard of this. A brother was prosecuted and laid to rest for a crime that it turns out he didn't do. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the full details of it, but I do have the story from NBC News pulled up here. I'll go ahead and share my screen just to get a little bit more context. I'll share my thoughts as well, too, as to what I think and how it made me feel, what are the cases. Let's for those of us that are not as familiar, let's go ahead and watch a 2-minute clip from NBC News explaining the tragedy that took place with Mr. Marcellus Williams.
Was put to death over the 1998 murder of newspaper reporter Felicia Gale, and the execution coming hours after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay of execution, just a day after the state's governor and the Supreme Court both denied clemency to Williams as well. And all this after a prosecutor from the original trial said Williams was innocent, claiming no evidence actually tied him to the crime.
What do you make of that, folks? Mr. Marcellus Williams had his life taken away, presumed to be innocent, by lethal injection. Lethal injection for something that was proven that he was innocent of and that he did not do. Of course, you saw in the story there, lethal injection or just execution has been prominent. I think he's one of many, one of 5 of lethal injections that have been taking place throughout the country. His case in particular calls for a lot of disdain and distrust in the government system, of course, because it was proven that he was innocent. I forget the crime. Forgive me, I'm not as well versed into exactly what happened in terms of why he was even in jail for the first place. I think he was, accused of doing something with another woman, taking a woman's life or whatever the case is. It was later found out that I think the blood that they found on a firearm was not his, things of that nature. All in all, he was proven innocent. And for whatever reason, our justice system failed this man and many like him in terms of bringing forth true justice and seeing to it that he was released immediately. What do you make of that, folks? Here's my thought about this story as well, too. When I heard this story again, like you be mindful of the tactics, right? And again, I'm not saying that everything is conspiracy. We have to dig too deep on. Sometimes some situations it is what it is, right? But something that I'm mindful of, and maybe you might be the same as well, too, is 2 things, right? 1, this is a story that is liable to enrage you, right? To get fed up and throw your arms up. Oh, I'm tired of this justice system. And then you hit the streets, you go out protesting, you start rioting, you start acting out of character. All around this election season. Be mindful of the season that we're in as well, too. So when I originally heard this story, and again, the lady even spoke on it as well, too, got it. Okay, so it was a stabbing, but the DNA did not match. Okay, cool. So a woman lost her life. That's vaguely what I understood as well, too. Shout out to you. Thank you. There was a stabbing that took place, and the murder weapon, the DNA that was found on the murder weapon did not match Mr. Marcellus's. It did not match his DNA. So, of course, that ended up proving him innocent. The point I'm trying to make here, folks, is that 1, this story is disheartening, of course. I look at it as a situation where people can start. I can see how stories like this and many others like it can start to make people feel like there's no faith in the justice system. How many times could we all say that in our lifetime that we've seen the justice system get it wrong? Where people, facts and things, that were made public to the us everyday people. Of course, we see these things, we see the proof, we see the facts, we hear the judge, we hear the case, this and the other. And we know a person could be innocent, but a judge still gets it wrong, and they throw 20 years at a person, or in this situation, death penalty, a death sentence, whatever the case is. What happens when a society loses faith in the justice system? What happens when the Supreme Court and the justice system, all these prosecutors continue to get it wrong, right? People are getting their lives taken away. People are, getting life sentences for things that they did not do. What happened when a society catches on and they realize, hey, this justice system is all about money. It's all about power. Sometimes there's racial tensions, of course, racial biases in there as well, too. We've seen that a lot as well. What happens when a society who puts their faith in a government system, in a justice system, who anticipates the justice system doing the right thing? What happens when a society sees time and time again that justice system continuously does the wrong thing? That they do get it wrong, and they don't seem to necessarily care when more innocent lives are getting taken away from people's families. That's somebody's father. That's somebody's son. It's probably somebody's uncle, whatever the case is. What happens to a society where people don't have faith in the justice system? I'll tell you what happens, folks. In my opinion, people stop caring. People start making their own rules when they don't think that the justice system is going to get it right. People start committing more crimes when they see that, oh, I just need a good lawyer and some money and some alibis. Crime rate increases. Faith in the justice system decreases. People don't care anymore. People are more likely to take more risks because they see that the justice system can and does get it wrong. In this situation, man, it's sad that, I would consider this man a martyr. I think I saw his last words. He gave all praise to Allah in his last words. When I didn't even know that was a thing. They asked, any final words, a written statement, whatever the case is. He wrote one sentence where he showed his strength. He showed his, devotion to his belief. And he gave all praises to God, regardless of the circumstance. And I thought that was pretty admirable. You hear stories about like that all the time in the Bible and things of that nature, whatever you believe. But people who know that they're innocent, people that know that they've done nothing wrong, in my personal opinion, you will be avenged in the afterlife, man. If you're somebody that believes in the afterlife, if you believe in justice, whether it not be here on earth, but in a realm beyond. But the main thing I wanted to take away from the story, folks, again, is just being mindful of the things that are designed to trigger us and grow us further apart. Again, all these stories that of people, these race wars and these political wars, things that are designed to divide us. So that way there's no trust within our communities and, within our public settings. There's no trust amongst one another, people that you should be able to trust, people that you should be able to confide in. When we hear stories of this, things of that nature, innocent lives getting taken away, you start to lose faith in the systems and the rules and the government. And people start making their own rules. What happens to a society that starts making their own rules and taking matters into their own hands? Think about it. Don't think we're that far along, technology-wise or whatever the case. We see this back in the day. Back in the day, we've seen revolutions. I don't want to use the word revolution. There's certain trigger words that, I kind of want to stay away from when we talk about things like this. But what happens to a society that's fed up is the point I'm trying to make here. What happens when we can't put faith in our justice systems, when we can't put faith in our people that are in power and people that we're supposed to trust to do the right thing, our police officers, our teachers, our government officials, our politicians, all the people that are in power, the people that we look up to, the people that we trust, the people that we give our time to, our hard-earned money to. What happens to a society when we can no longer look up to and trust these people? Is the point I'm trying to make, folks. Those are my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. Rest in peace to Mr. Marcellus Williams. Peace and blessings to his family as well, too. And let's just stay sharp out here, folks. The society that's being built next few months, next few years is a society that I don't really know if many of us are going to want to be a part of. But that's just me.